Can you trust the suits that run the corporate world? This is a question that many of us have pondered. Today, we're diving into a tale of greed and deception, a tale that shook the very foundation of corporate America. This is not a story of rags to riches. No, it's a story of riches to rags, and the culprits? None other than the high-flying executives of a once-revered energy company. Welcome to the dark side of capitalism, the Enron scandal. In the beginning, there was Enron, the golden child of Wall Street. This Texas-born titan, formed in the mid-'80s, didn't take long to make a name for itself. It started as a humble natural gas company, but soon expanded its operations to become a major player in the energy sector. The 90s saw the company in its heyday, as it branched into electricity, communications, and even weather futures. Enron's innovative business model and aggressive expansion strategy made it a darling of the stock market. Before we knew it, Enron was standing tall among America's top companies, its name synonymous with success and prosperity. It was seen as the embodiment of the American dream, a beacon of innovation and wealth creation. And why wouldn't it be? After all, it was posting impressive profits year after year, its stock prices soaring to dizzying heights. But as we soon discovered, all that glitters is not gold. When the facade began to crack, it revealed an ugly truth. And so, the unraveling of Enron's grand illusion commenced. The energy titan that had once dazzled Wall Street with its soaring profits was now under the microscope for all the wrong reasons. The revelation was as startling as it was scandalous. Enron's accounting practices, once considered innovative and groundbreaking, were now exposed as fraudulent. The company had been cooking the books, inflating its profits while hiding its losses. It was a game of smoke and mirrors, a delicate balancing act that was destined to crumble. But every illusion needs its illusionists, and Enron had two at its helm. CEO Jeffrey Skilling, the charismatic visionary, and CFO Andrew Fastow, the financial wizard, were the architects of this grand deception. Skilling had the audacity to dream it, and Fastow had the cunning to make it seem real. Together, they wove a web of deceit that ensnared investors, employees, and even auditors. Speaking of auditors, let's not forget their role in this tale of corporate malfeasance. Arthur Andersen, one of the world's most reputable accounting firms, was Enron's auditor. They were supposed to be the watchdogs, the ones who would sniff out any foul play. But instead of sounding the alarm, they turned a blind eye. Their complicity in the scandal would eventually lead to their own downfall, a grim reminder that when giants fall, they don't fall alone. And fall Enron did. The once mighty energy behemoth collapsed under the weight of its own deceit. Its stock, which had once traded at a peak of $90, was now worthless. Thousands of employees were left jobless, their retirement savings evaporated. Investors were left reeling, their trust in the corporate world shattered. In the end, the mighty Enron was nothing more than a house of cards. It was a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked greed and the devastating consequences when the guardians of financial integrity choose to look the other way. The fall of Enron was not just a corporate scandal, it was a societal wake-up call. The fallout was catastrophic. This sentence alone barely scratches the surface of the aftermath that followed the Enron scandal. When the dust settled, it was the employees, shareholders, and the energy industry as a whole that paid the price. Thousands of Enron employees who had been encouraged to invest their retirement savings in the company's stock watched helplessly as their nest eggs cracked and crumbled. In a blink, their dreams of a secure future faded into obscurity. The shareholders, too, were left in an equally dire strait, staring at worthless pieces of paper that were once their golden tickets to prosperity. The energy industry, which had once looked at Enron as a beacon of innovation, was left in shambles, its trust and credibility severely undermined. But the impact of the scandal wasn't confined within the walls of the energy industry. It sent shockwaves across the corporate world, leading to an overhaul of corporate governance and financial reporting standards. The scandal brought about the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002, which increased the accountability of corporate executives for the financial practices of their companies. As for the architects of the scandal, CEO Jeffrey Skilling and CFO Andrew Fastow, they faced the music in the court of law. Skilling was convicted on 19 counts of conspiracy, securities fraud, insider trading, and making false statements to auditors. He was sentenced to 24 years in prison. a sentence that was later reduced to 14 years. Fasto, who had masterminded the complex web of partnerships and special-purpose entities that hid Enron's debt, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of conspiracy and was sentenced to 10 years without parole. Their convictions were a stark reminder that no one is above the law, no matter how high their corporate ladder reaches. In the end, Enron became a symbol, a chilling testament to what can happen when corporate greed and deception are allowed to run unchecked. It was a painful lesson, learned at a staggering cost. Enron became a byword for corporate greed and deception. Can we prevent another Enron? That's a question that has echoed across boardrooms and courtrooms alike since the colossal fall of the energy giant. The answer isn't simple, but it's certainly possible, and the first step towards it was the introduction of legislative changes, like the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. This law, enacted in the wake of the Enron scandal, tightened up corporate reporting standards and made executives personally accountable for the accuracy of their company's financial statements. It was a beacon of hope, casting light on the dark corners of corporate finance, where tricks and loopholes once thrived. But laws and regulations, as necessary as they are, can only do so much. The real change needs to come from within the corporate culture itself. The importance of corporate ethics cannot be overstated. A company that values honesty and integrity, that fosters a culture of transparency and accountability, is far less likely to follow the path Enron did. Transparency, in particular, is the key. It's the sunlight that keeps the corporate garden healthy, allowing stakeholders to see exactly what's going on. It's the antidote to the kind of shadowy dealings that brought Enron down. In the world of business, trust is hard-earned and easily lost. Let's not forget the lessons Enron has taught us, because at the end of the day, a company without trust is like a car without fuel. It's not going anywhere.